This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Archos 7 home tablet. This runs Android 1.5, and given the name you might guess it's a 7-inch display. It's the big brother to the Archos 5 internet tablet that we reviewed a couple of months ago. And it looks quite similar, only larger. Build quality isn't bad. It's plastic over here on the end caps. You've got the micro USB port here. This does support USB host, but you'd have to find an adapter, which is pretty challenging. We've got a headphone jack over here, power and lock over here, a micro SD card slot right here. It has 8 gigs of built-in storage also. And we have the stippled metallic looking back here, which does flex. You can hear it and see it probably, in fact, flexing, which is a little weird. I don't know if it's thin metal maybe, or if it's actually a plastic. I suspect it is just flexible metal. One thing that is nice is it has a pop-out stand. So you can prop it up like so to use it. To give you an idea of the Archos 7, here it is next to the iPhone 4, so you can see it's quite a bit larger device. The Archos 7 is not a phone. This is just an internet tablet and a multimedia tablet. What's good about the Archos is that it costs $199 or maybe a bit less. This review unit came from Expansis USA, and they're currently selling it for $193.99 in the 8 gig variety. And it's cool that it's running Android. What's not so great is that it has a resistive touchscreen, and this is one insensitive touchscreen. I find I have to tap it and retap it several times, and scrolling can be quite tedious. Also not so cool is this is just vanilla Android 1.5. That's pretty old. That's the original release of Android. It was first available on the T-Mobile G1. Since this is not a phone, it doesn't have the full Android market. Also kind of a bummer. Archos does provide something called the AppsLib, which is a customized version of an application downloader for the device. It is not the fastest thing. As you can see here, this is running over Wi-Fi. It does have Wi-Fi 802.11bg, since it doesn't have a cellular radio. It's neither very fast nor very stable. It's about as stable as an elephant on roller skates. Half the time it seems to crash the device trying to use it. Archos used to be great about offering updates for the device itself, new firmwares, but with the Archos 7 there doesn't seem to be any updates since this first came out about 2 months ago or so. And I believe they're outsourced their Android development, so I'm not sure we're going to see much on the way. So there you can see the available update screen finally loaded. You can take a look what's available for free. Not a huge number. Again, it's kind of hard to scroll this screen. But we'll take a look at entertainment applications, since that seems to have a lot. So here we have Lady Gaga ringtone for free, Beavis and Butthead soundboard. Not the high quality apps that you're used to. On an Android phone, for example, there's no Netflix, there's no Pandora. The stuff that is generally the most popular on the Android market, unfortunately, is not here. So there's AppsLib. Better or worse, you do have the Google search box right here, and you have the very good WebKit-based web browser. There is no Flash, since this is Android 1.5. And in fact, I'll take a look what apps are installed here. This is pretty much all stock. I've downloaded very few. There is no YouTube player here either, so mobile YouTube player app, no. Too bad. Let's take a look at the web browser. This is an 800 by 480 pixel display, same as high-end phones like the Motorola Droid X, only obviously stretched to 7 inches. It's easier on the eyes, certainly. And right now it's working on loading the Google homepage. Internet access is not terribly fast, which is surprising. This is a pretty fast CPU, and it's running on Wi-Fi, and it seems like it could use some tweaks. Wi-Fi reception isn't the strongest. We suggest that you stay within relatively close range of your Wi-Fi access point. If you go about 20 feet or more, you will see the signal drop significantly. Right now we are about 25 feet from our access point. Okay, we turn Wi-Fi off and on again, and now pages are loading, so we'll show you what the on-screen keyboard looks like and how it renders our website. There is no dedicated Android menu button here, so you press the little software menu button that's up here to get your controls, and here's the Android keyboard. So here's our website loaded. Looks just fine since this is a standard Android browser. Doesn't always reliably load ads, but I'm sure you won't be too sad about that. There is no pinch zooming because it's not capacitive, it's not a multi-touch display. Likewise with the keyboard, you have to be careful. You really can't type with 2 fingers and do input because of that. There are no hardware volume controls. Surprising for a multimedia-oriented device, you have volume controls right up here on the menu bar pervasively in most applications. So that is the web browser. Next, we'll take a look at what Archos players are good at, which is multimedia. The video player on here does a great job. We have some high-quality content on here. Got the Transformers video, which is an 800 by 480 pixel video at a very high bitrate in MP4 format. This supports a variety of codecs, AVI, MPEG-4, stuff like that, up to 720p. And we'll fast forward to a more interesting part of the movie.
Hey bro, that car, it's nice. Hey.
I'll crank up the volume a little bit.
What are you guys doing here? We're gonna climb this tree.
It has stereo speakers. Obviously, it's not supremely loud. It's good enough for private listening in your hotel room, and it does come with a set of okay quality earbuds. Of course, you can use your own 3.5mm stereo headset with this instead for better listening.
No, that wasn't like a real tryout. I was researching the book I was writing. Oh yeah? Yeah.
So it does a pretty good job of playing. The screen quality isn't bad to look at. It's not a superb screen, but pay for $199 on a 7-inch machine, this is pretty good. Next we'll take a look at the audio player, music player. And you can do a list by song title, by performer, album, and so on. And you can do a search if you have a lot of music on here and you don't want to scroll through the whole thing. So we're just going to pick a tune and play it so you can see what it looks like. And you can do things like loop, fast forward, pause. This brings up the EQ. You can see it changing up here. If you don't get a manual equalizer, you can switch between classical, pop, heavy bass, jazz. And there's the custom. So like all Archos devices, it's a pretty good media player for music and for video. In terms of other applications, what you get on here is an alarm clock. They've preloaded the Aldico ebook reader, which I'll show you in a minute. That's available on the Android market, so you may have used that on your Android phone. The apps live, the music player. I loaded the Boston Globe application, which unfortunately crashes on this. And I loaded a File Explorer, because the File Explorer that comes with it on the desktop is very minimal. You've got a photo frame function, which is pretty cool, photo viewer, sound recorder, and you get the settings here since there is no hardware button for settings on the main menu. We'll take a quick look at the photo viewer. And these are preloaded pictures. They're fairly pretty, good quality, and you can scroll through like that. Again, there's no pinch and zooming, but this works pretty quickly. And the photo frame function is kind of cool. You just prop on the stand, and if you're keeping it plugged in, it's a nice alternative use for the device. Archos claimed 7 hours of video playback time. We didn't see that. We got maybe more like 4.5. I would say bring your charger with you, definitely on the road. And last we're going to take a look at the ebook reader. So that's a nice interface. Again, this Android app has been around for quite some time. If you want to read a book, just have it. There's no accelerometer on this device. If you want to read in portrait, you have to use the software controls in the reader to navigate. So if you want to switch pages, you just do it like so, and the application supports changing the brightness just by dragging your finger up and down. You'll see that it has a day-night mode also. That way you won't drive your spouse crazy when you read in bed at night in the dark. And if you want to switch it to portrait mode, you have to go into settings. There, it's switched into portrait mode. It's pretty nice and readable looking. It's not that fast, though. It's much faster on a Motorola Droid than it is on this. Go figure. So that's the Archos 7 home internet tablet. It runs Android 1.5 and it's very reasonable at $199. Again, we got ours from Expansis USA as a review unit. There are some things that are attractive about it. It does have a large display, but there are enough caveats here that I have a hard time recommending it. The screen is fairly unresponsive. The device isn't that fast. It runs an old release of Android, and there aren't a lot of apps for it. But still, it does surf the web. It makes a decent LCD-based ebook reader and has a nice video player and a good music player. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website to read the full review of the Archos 7.